certain diagnoses have increased by several thousand%. Currently, around 140,000 students in Germany are studying psychology.
Around 80% are female. And I had some referrals for the ninth therapy in 15 years. This is the thing with the new diagnoses, like autism and others. It's like an axis between big and failure, grandness and vulnerability. And sometimes the both ends of the axis are activated at the same time to be, oh, I'm a victim, I'm so small, but I'm the greatest in being so small. An inverted narcissism in victimhood.
I'm the best victim. Look at me.
Yes.
Welcome back to Psychobabble. I'm Hannah Spear, your anti-feminist psychiatrist, and today we're going to expose more bad therapy and liberal narratives that contribute to our poor mental health. As usual, please help me out by liking and subscribing. If you're listening on audio, please go and check out my Substack. There's lots more content there, and join our community. Today, I'm joined by, maybe you've seen, I've written about it on the Substack, the witch hunt against a German psychologist, Holger Richter. He wrote an article called "It's Mainly Young Left Women Who Seek Therapy." This was an interview then published in Neue Zürcher Zeitung and Die Welt, which are two major publications in Switzerland and Germany, and it created something of a kerfuffle. So in the aftermath of that, the feminist mob came for him, and it's been rather unpleasant. So today we're going to go through the interview. We're going to go through the letters of complaint. But first, welcome to Psychobabble, Holger. I'm very happy that you're with us. You can tell us what's going on. It's such an important story. And please tell us how you're doing.
Hello, Hannah, and hello, everyone. And well, I'm confused. I'm fine, but I'm confused. I only made my research. I wrote a book about this, and I told a journalist what I'm thinking, and I didn't expect such a shitstorm, not only from feminists, but also from social justice warriors of every color. And they just want me out of office, and I felt a bit like in East Germany 35 years before.
Because you grew up there.
Yes.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about that parallel?
Yeah, I lived 19 years in East Germany, and with my critical opinions towards the communist state, I early got difficulties there. So I refused to serve in the army there, and they didn't want me to let me study there. And when I published stories there, they always called me to them and asked, "What do you mean by some words in that?" And it's like today. I wrote a story about the old wall in Germany, but it was a wall on the side of a town with flowers and something poetic. And the Communist Party, they saw something against their big anti-fascist wall, and now it's the same.
It's
I
the
wrote.
other side. That's amazing. You wrote a story called The Old Wall in 1989, and then you got in trouble with the opposite side, and now you wrote a book called Beyond Diagnoses, and you're getting in trouble again. Is that right?
Yes, yes, and it's amazing. I never expected that. I only told about, yes, my findings were that the major surge of diagnoses like HDHS and trauma and autism is mainly
Mm-hmm.
substantiated by young left women. And this is a finding. It's not my opinion. It's not an evaluation. It's just that. So as we can say, old right men, they are more paranoid or something like this. I
Mm-hmm.
also say this in the article, but only one side was taken out and created a shitstorm.
Oh my goodness. So we'll get to the article. First, I also want to tell everyone about your position, right? Because it's not. I mean, you have a lot of experience. You've been supervising and teaching young psychologists. You have so here you have to, when you're a psychologist, you have to specialize in psychotherapy, and that takes at least 4 years. And you are one of those head psychologists who are teaching young psychology graduates who are specializing, and you have a very high position at your hospital, which we cannot disclose for legal reasons. And you are your lecturer at different psychological institutions. Is that correct?
Yes,
A
that's
couple.
right.
So I'm going to just I'm not going to read the whole interview that got Holger into trouble. I'm going to take out the parts that are really very relevant. You think my criticism is directed at certain diagnoses that have surged dramatically. People go to therapists and say, I'm highly sensitive, I am autistic, I am trans, or I have ADHD. The subjective perception is treated as fact. Fact. Wokeness focuses on victim groups and sensitivity. Everyone gets a diagnosis that objectifies their feelings, complete with the therapist's stamp of approval. And this also has legal consequences. Do you want to say something more about that?
Yeah, I want to add that in the next sentence in the interview, I also say that this is only a part of the diagnosis. Not every new diagnosis they come and say, "Oh, I'm autistic. I need this diagnosis. I'm a victim."
Mm.
But the surge of it, the exponential surge of some diagnosis, a part of it, they are like this. And only about this I speak. It's not generalistic. Every people come to us and say, I have this diagnosis, give me this. That's not true. We have the real illnesses, you know it as well.
Yeah.
Um, so this is not the problem, but the people who diagnose themselves through social media, and they come with a force and fury to get the diagnosis.
Yeah.
And you see when you widersprechen, how do you
When
say
you
it?
say something against it,
Yeah,
when
if
you,
if you say something against it, if you refuse this, then you are a culprit.
yeah, then you're marginalizing them. You're causing
Yes,
offense. I've
yeah,
been on the side of that too. I had people come in with ready filled out questionnaires that they
yes,
printed out from online, and
yeah,
and some would say, women, that yeah, my son just got diagnosed with ADHD, and since I'm told it's very hereditary, that means that I need to be examined for to have the assessment as
mm,
well.
yes. And it's a good wordplay in Germany. They say it's Nachteilsausgleich, uh,
Yeah.
equalization of disadvantages.
Yeah,
But it's in real, it's an advantage. They can take longer time for Prüfung. Yeah, how do you
yeah,
say
for
this?
the tests, for the
For the
tests.
tests, yes.
And that's not to minimize their suffering, because they are
No.
having these difficulties, but because they're getting the wrong diagnoses, there's no go about we can't go about giving them the correct coping strategies.
Yes, yes.
Or what are your opinion on that? What are your thoughts?
I think if those special part of people who come and forcibly want their diagnosis, they have other interactional problems. And if they say it's hereditary, I have HDAS, they never have to look into their own responsibility for interaction problems.
Yes.
And so you are out as a psychotherapist with them. They
Yes.
simply say, "Oh, I want more time in tests. I want a room in my office where nobody is with me. I need special screens and things like this." And they are out of their own inside.
Which is the opposite of what they need to do, because you need to face your fear in order to become braver and more resilient. So if you have a problem with all the noise and all the people, you need to be around more people, not secluded in an isolated office. Would you say, I mean, you get to this later, about autism, for example, that it has a link to narcissism. But would you say that this, because it reminds me a little bit of personality disorders as well. Could you say something to that, although it's not in the interview?
Yes, I think that, or I start again. In my book, I wrote about the findings that in more than 8,000 of, how do you say this, Anträge? I don't know.
So referrals, I would say.
Referrals for therapy.
Right, yeah.
I read 8,000 of those refers, and only three times there was the diagnosis of narcissistic personality. And where is the narcissism today? I think it's in that part of diagnosis, it's hidden there. Some of autistic, ADHS, traumatic, and transgender, the narcissism, the cycling around oneself and my identity and the attention I have to get with a diagnosis is in fact narcissistic, but you don't have to name it like this.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
it's then difficult to treat because they say,
Yes.
no, it's my neurodivergency and neurodivergency.
Neurodivergence. Can you please say something about what you think about neurodivergence? Because it's every time I read it, I think, no, no.
It's a it's a zero meaning word. It's a wording to say, "Let me in quietness. I do what I want."
I
We
do
are
what I
all
want.
we are all neurodivergent. It says nothing,
It
but
says nothing. It's psychobabble.
yeah, it's psychobabble. And the thing is, it's a political word because they say we are activists for neurodivergency, and we fight against those psychologists who say something against it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the new victim group, I think. In on LinkedIn, where I'm very active, I see many posts about
Yes.
neurodivergency, and it's even epistemological nonsense.
Hmm. Yes. It's like, don't hit me, I'm wearing glasses. So, you know that feeling?
Yeah,
Just,
yeah,
where you like punch someone and then they punch back and you're like, oh, hit me, I'm wearing glasses.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I just had to, because I also see it everywhere, and it makes our job a lot harder. Yeah, and back to narcissism. I think that's so interesting because I see also this word everywhere, and especially linked to feminists, or those who are very concerned with feminists, because they see a lot of narcissistic behavior in that ideology. And it's interesting. I was once taught by I might be jumping here. Sorry, I'm just very excited to be talking to you
Mhm.
about this. Um, a supervisor once told me that you don't see the narcissists in the clinic because, well, they think that they're just fabulous and perfect. So you don't, but you will see them when their behavior causes them to be depressed. So when they're not able to fool people any longer, when they're,
Yeah,
because they'll eventually hit some trouble. So get some
yes,
resistance, or their
yes,
family leaves them or something, and then they'll tank. And then
yeah.
will see them just for the depression, and they'll come there and they'll tell you exactly what to do. So
Hmm.
they'll be like, "But you need to do this and this and give me this and this now, because I know this better than you do." And it's impossible to do any sort of therapy with them, and then you never see them again.
Hmm.
So can you say something about that and then how you interpret what you've seen with autism and I am trans and I am this and I'm that in relation to what I just said?
Yeah, I think, or my concept of narcissism, as I wrote also in the book, is it's like an axis between big and failure, grandness and vulnerability. And we see the patients with when they are vulnerable in the
Mm-hmm.
clinic, when they have a depression, when the partner was gone, and things like this. And sometimes the both ends of the axis are activated at the same time to be, oh, I'm a victim, I'm so small, but I'm the greatest in being so small. It's like the black queen, or the an inverted narcissism in victimhood. And this is the thing with the new diagnoses, like
Mm-hmm.
autism and others. But it can be replaced with everything, like neurodivergency. And maybe next year they have the next diagnoses, because there needs to be a place for that new narcissism who is inverted in victimhood.
Yes, I'm the best victim. Look at me.
Yes.
I have 3 diagnoses. You just
Yes.
have one, you loser.
Yes, yes, yes. I wrote the last
Mm.
story in my book is a book. It's called the Black Queen, who has 9 diagnoses, and they play like cards in the clinic. Oh, I have more, and I have this, but
Mhm.
no narcissism.
No, no, no narcissism. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, because narcissism is the you are seeking unearned status and privilege. That is
that
what that
is.
is. Mm.
That's what that is.
Mind blown. That was great to get that out of my system. Okay, to the next. Certain diagnoses have increased by several thousand%. Currently, around 140,000 students in Germany are studying psychology. In the 1990s, it was only 30,000.
Mm.
Each year, 2,000 new psychotherapy practices open in Germany. That is baffling. So 30,000, and now there's 140,000, and most of them are female, of course.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also because of the school notes. Male pupils get lower school notes,
Yes.
and for
Yeah.
psychology, you have
Of
how do you
course.
say it?
Yeah.
A threshold.
We tailor a school to female strengths.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Um,
Now we
and
have around 80% therapists are female in
80%.
in in in, in,
80% are
in
female.
Germany.
2